Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my videos. Going to be giving you an update on some transfer news. So according to The Athletic, Southampton want Brandon Williams on loan in January. But Southampton do face competition because there's a few other Premier League clubs that are interested in him. Southampton obviously want to provide competition for Ryan Bertrand. Now, Brandon Williams has lost his place in our team. He is our third choice left back following the arrival of Alex Telles. Brandon Williams has not yet featured in the Premier League this season. He's played though in both of our Carabao Cup games against Luton and Brighton. He's made around 35 first team appearances, and at the start of the season he signed a 4-year contract with Manchester United. He made his first team debut against Rochdale in the Carabao Cup last season. And at the start of this season, we give him the number 33 shirt. It would be beneficial if we did loan him out because obviously he would gain more experience. Southampton inquired about getting him in the summer, don't forget. So that's the breaking news on him. Now, I want to delve into some news on Dayot Upamecano from RB Leipzig. So, Dayot Upamecano has made a decision. He's going to be leaving RB Leipzig next year. Man United and Liverpool are preparing to put bids in for him. Now, he is available for around £36 million next year because that's when his release clause does become active. Now, Liverpool are obviously in search for a centre-half because obviously they've got Virgil van Dijk out with injury. Could be out for the rest of the season. They've got Joe Gomez out with a serious injury. And Andrew Robertson recently sustained an injury. Bayern Munich have been interested in Upamecano, but he says that Bayern Munich cannot afford him. Now, he has been at RB Leipzig for a few years now. Leipzig only paid around £9 million for him from Salzburg back in 2017. Upamecano's got a contract with RB Leipzig until 2023. When he signed this new contract, that obviously includes the new release clause. I think he'd go very, very well alongside Harry Maguire in our back line. Manchester United definitely need a centre-half. So that's the breaking news on him. There's obviously been a lot of players on our agenda. You know, it is good that we are making plans for next year. I think, in reality, Man United need around 5 signings to win the Premier League title. I think we need around 2 to compete for the Premier League title. We're not only going to focus on the incomings next year, though, we're also going to focus on the outgoings because he's still deadwood at the football club. Now, I think next year we'll be looking to get rid of Sergio Romero. Sergio Romero is now our third choice goalkeeper. He's always been our backup goalkeeper anyway. Romero's enjoyed a good 5 years or so at the club. You know, we got him on a free from San Pandora back in 2015. Surprised he didn't leave during the summer transfer window. I think we're also going to offload Phil Jones. I think this is Phil Jones' 10th season at Manchester United. Obviously, he's been with us since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. He's obviously been inconsistent. He's obviously out with injury at the moment, and not so long ago he did have an operation. Marcus Rojo would also offload him. He's never really established himself as a first team regular since his arrival from Sporting Lisbon. We paid just over £16 million for Rojo from Sporting Lisbon back in 2014. Rojo did recently return to training. Timothy Fosu-Mensah, I think he's another player we're going to offload because he doesn't really get in the team. Jesse Lingard, I think he's another player we're going to offload. Again, doesn't get in the team regularly. Nemanja Matic, I think we could offload him next year because he's inconsistent and he has lost his place in the team, even though he did start against West Brom recently. Matic, though, did have some good games towards the end of last season, don't forget. And was it at the start of this season he signed a 3-year contract with Manchester United? We got him in a deal worth £40 million from Chelsea back in 2017. He is now in his 30s. I think Juan Mata, we could also offload him next year. Like I've said to you, Juan Mata has had some good games this season for Manchester United. He did well in both our Carabao Cup games against Luton and Brighton. He did well in the Chelsea game. He did well in the Newcastle game. But he weren't so consistent in the Besiktas game, Everton game and West Brom game. My element of concern about Juan Mata, he has now lost that yard of pace. And he is now 33, 34. He's had a good career at Man United. He's enjoyed a good 6 years or so at the football club. We got him for £40 million from Chelsea back in 2014. Juan Mata has scored 50 goals for Man United in all competitions. Earlier on this season, he rejected an £18 million a year contract offer to play in Saudi Arabia. I'm definitely expecting Manchester United to offload Paul Pogba next year. It's unlikely to be in January. I think we'll offload him next summer. Now, Paul Pogba has recently been out with an ankle injury. This is the main explanation why he didn't play any part in the West Brom game. Solskjaer was saying prior to the West Brom game that he's backing Paul Pogba to improve. And he said that he is an important person and he's an important player. And he said it's very essential that we can make him happy at the club again, because quite clearly Paul Pogba's unhappy at Manchester United because he's actually lost his place in the team. I think he's only started 2 of our last 8 games. Pogba made quite a few comments recently. He said this season's been the most difficult period in his career. He said playing for France was a breath of fresh air. And just in general, he was talking about his Man United struggles this season. Pogba was obviously unhappy when we triggered that 1-year extension on his contract. We did that earlier on in the season. So Pogba's under contract with the football club until June 2022. This was also confirmed by Fabrizio Romano. There has been no talks over getting him a long-term contract at the football club. His agent Mini Raiola said during the summer transfer window that Pogba wanted to stay, and he said he would hold talks over a new long-term contract. Didier Deschamps, the France manager, has been talking a lot about Paul Pogba, and he says that he understands Paul Pogba better than Solskjaer. And he obviously was saying that he cannot be happy, Pogba, with his situation at Manchester United, for being left on the bench and for playing out of position. This is what he said. But reflects on Pogba's recent comments, he has received a lot of criticism. This is his 5th season at Manchester United since he rejoined. he's won 3 trophies at the football club, and that was the Europa League, the League Cup and the Community Shield. He's made over 100 appearances for us in all competitions. For the vast majority of last season, he was out because he had an ankle injury. Now, like I said to you, he has had a long-running transfer saga. He's been relentlessly linked to a move to Real Madrid. He made an admission earlier on this season saying that one day his dreams to join Real Madrid. Obviously, there's been rumours of him going back to Juventus, PSG, Barcelona, and that have been in for him before. He said that Paul Pogba intends to leave the club on a free transfer, but we won't want to let him go on a free, so we'll obviously want to cash in for him next summer. We paid £89 million for him, so as it stands at the moment, he is our most expensive signing. We definitely won't get more than the £89 million that we paid for him. So there you go. Now, Daniel James, I think he's another player that could be offloaded next year. Daniel James, when he has been playing, he has been out of form. But he hasn't played much this season. He's only played 5 games in all competitions. But despite his lack of playing time, James said, he still loves it at Manchester United. We got him in June last year from Swansea in a deal worth £18 million. Obviously, there's rumours of Dean Henderson going out on loan in January. Dean Henderson's actually said he wants to go out on loan in January. The main explanation so he can boost his chances of becoming England's #1 goalkeeper. Now, the Sun recently said that Leeds United are interested in signing him. It said Celtic were recently interested in him. Bournemouth have been interested in him. So yeah, but Dean Henderson is our second choice goalkeeper, isn't he? He hasn't played yet in the Premier League this season. Not so long ago made his Champions League debut for the club. Obviously played in our Carabao Cup games. I think at some point Dean Henderson will become our #1 goalkeeper. Because I think now he's got that experience behind him. Because don't forget he did endure 2 successful loans with Sheffield United. Before then he had loan spells with Stockport, Grimsby and Shrewsbury, didn't he? We got Dean Henderson at the age of 14, so he has been part of the club for several years. At the start of this season, he signed a 6-year contract with Man United worth around 120 grand a week. Did Dean Henderson. So, yeah. Odin Igalo, he'll leave the football club in January when his loan expires. So that's the latest news on that. Now, you saw my video that I did earlier on. And it was about Mauricio Pochettino. Also give my starting 11 prediction for the Istanbul Başakşehir game. But yeah, reports have been coming out saying that Man United must act soon if they want Mauricio Pochettino. Pochettino has turned down several clubs. Now, Pochettino is missing football and he's ready for a return to management. Because he has been managerless now for like a year. Because he was sacked from Tottenham last year. Pochettino's the favourite to take over at Manchester United. He's been in talks with the club a few times. The Manchester Evening News said a few weeks ago that Man United have approached Mauricio Pochettino over becoming the club's new manager. It recently said that he was watching Man United, Man City and Chelsea. I think Pochettino is a better manager than Solskjaer is because he's well Premier League proven, his philosophy is good, and he has dealt with top players. My only element of concern about him, he has not won anything in terms of silverware. Pochettino's not only the manager that's been on our agenda, you've had obviously Massimiliano Allegri on our agenda, you've had Julian Nagelsmann on our agenda. 2O Sport recently said that Roberto Mancini was on our agenda. But to be honest with you, it wouldn't really solve a lot if we do sack Solskjaer, because not all of the blame stems from Solskjaer. Obviously, some of the blame stems from him, like I've said. There's issues at the football club he's got to solve. Obviously, he's got to solve the Paul Pogba issue. He's obviously got to select the right formation. He's got to identify his best 11. I think he's got to obviously start Donny van der Beek. He's got to drop Martial and start Cavani. He's got to work out his best midfield. And the style of football has got to improve, because that's obviously been very, very poor. But there is quite a lot of Manchester United fans now that are turning on Ole. Now, we have won our last 2 games in a row. We're beaten West Brom by 1-0. And we beaten Everton by 3-1. We was very, very lucky to beat West Brom. Obviously, the goal came from a retaken penalty from Bruno Fernandes. There's people obviously arguing, saying that shouldn't have been retaken, but obviously they said Sam Johnston was off his line. West Brom obviously had a penalty overturned by VAR. I've got to be honest with you, I thought that was actually a penalty. But the performance was very, very bad against West Brom. But we still got the win. And that win against West Brom was our first win at Old Trafford in the Premier League this season. And, Solskjaer's obviously explained why we haven't been so good at home, because he said obviously there's no fans there. And yes, it does change the complexion of things, when fans are behind you, backing you or whatever. But it's still no excuse in my opinion. The Everton game weren't great, but it was a much better performance than the West Brom one. I think we're now sitting like 9th in the Premier League table, something like that. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been Manchester United manager for almost 2 years. I think it's next month, his 2-year anniversary at the club. He's got a contract with the football club until 2022. And if we do decide to sack him, it'll cost the club around 4 or 5 million. Ole has managed over 100 games now for Man United in all competitions. Reflecting now on his being at the football club, he has gained managerial experience. But he hasn't got that proven pedigree as a manager, has he? Man United is the 3rd club in his managerial career. The main explanation why he's still Manchester United manager is because he's a club legend. And reflects on that, our board have softened their stance on him. But disregarding being a club legend, I think he wouldn't have been Manchester United manager now. But I don't think Ole's been backed enough at the football club by the board. He really, really hasn't, because in the summer transfer window, we missed out on all of his priority targets. None of our managers have been backed enough since the Sir Alex Ferguson era, and this is the main explanation why the board are one of the problems at the club, and they've been one of the problems for a long time now. But Woodward came out the other week and he said Manchester United remain absolutely committed to Solskjaer despite our poor start to the season. This is Ole Solskjaer's 2nd full season at the club, and I said to you this season was always going to be big for him, and I said he's got to exceed his expectations and he's got to do everything right if he's to remain Man United manager. I said if we could get in the top 4 this season and if we could win a trophy, that would represent a very, very good season for Man United, and then that would give us something to build on, wouldn't it? The way things are going, we're not going to do this. maybe there's a chance we could win a trophy. We might not get in the top 4, but we could win a trophy. You know, we could win the Carabao Cup, we're into the quarterfinals of that. You know, we could win the FA Cup, but I don't see us winning the Premier League, and we, you know, certainly won't win the Champions League. But I think we'll get to the knockout stages of the Champions League. I really, really do. But there's not all negativity regarding Solskjaer, like I've said so many times on my other videos. There is positives to take from his tenure at the club. Like I said, he has made some good signings so far. He's spent over £200 million and he's endured, 4 transfer windows at the club. We've also seen a lot of players leave the club since he got recommended in. He's promoted the youth well. You know, he showed a lot of tactical flexibility in a lot of the big games. Because our record against the top 6 sides has been pretty impressive since he came in. You know, last season, Solskjaer guided us to 3 semi-finals. He got us qualification for the Champions League and also got us 3rd. So last season was a good season for Solskjaer, and I was hoping that we could have built on that, but obviously, you know, we haven't. So yeah, they are the positives you can take. Don't forget, Solskjaer's inheriting a lot of players here from the Jose Mourinho era. Still a few players here from the Van Gaal era. There's only 1 player here from the Moyes era, and there's only 2 players here from the Sir Alex Ferguson era. We have spent over £1 billion in the last 8 years or so on players, and we've recruited a good 34, 35, 36 players in since Sir Alex Ferguson left. And people will say, reflects on the money we've spent, we should be in much more of a commanding position than we are in. Just proves always spending big on players doesn't guarantee you success. We've overpaid for players as well in recent years. You know, we paid £89 million for Pogba, £80 million for Maguire, £75 million for Lukaku, £60 million for Di Maria, £47 million for Bruno Fernandes, obviously more with add-ons. £50 million for Wan-Bissaka, £47 million for Fred. So it just shows you, doesn't it? And we've also got players on big contracts at the football club. 3 managers have been sacked since the Ferguson era, and that was Moyes, Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho. So we've had different managers with different philosophies. 4 trophies Man United have only won since Fergie left. And that was the FA Cup under Van Gaal and the Europa League, the League Cup and the Community Shield under Jose Mourinho. We've made a lot of mistakes in the last 8 years. You know, this is one of the main explanations why we've been so inconsistent. Some United fans will say we made a mistake getting rid of Mourinho. Obviously, Ferguson made 1 mistake, and that was ever appointing Moyes in. A lot of the players we've brought in the last 7 years or so haven't been the right players for Man United. But I think there's few players we've got rid of who we shouldn't have got rid of. We made a mistake giving Solskjaer the job permanently, but we give him the job permanently reflects on what he did when he first came in to the club. You know what I mean? As you all know, Manchester United have got a few injuries. Obviously, Eric Bay's out with injury. He's been out of muscle injury, Eric Bay. That's my own element of concern about Eric Bay. He's too injury prone. Luke Shaw, he's obviously out with a hamstring injury. He's out for up to a month. Again, my element of concern about Luke Shaw is too injury prone. Jesse Lingard, I think he's out with injury still. Jones is out with injury. Rashford's just recently come back from a shoulder problem. Paul Pogba's just had an ankle injury. Lindelof had a back injury not so long ago. Martial had a few back problems whilst he was on the international duty with France. So they're the injuries I think we've got. Mason Greenwood's obviously been out with illness. Solskjaer confirmed prior to the West Brom game that Mason Greenwood missed like 9 days of training due to the illness he's had. Obviously he's had injuries and he's obviously had personal issues as Greenwood. So there you go. But yeah, Manchester United take on Istanbul Başakşehir tomorrow night in the Champions League group stage. It is at Old Trafford, 8 o'clock kickoff. I've already given you my preview in that for the game. Obviously, Man United will want revenge because we lost the game against Başakşehir in Turkey by 2-1. And it was goals from Demba and Edin Visca. Obviously, Anthony Martial had scored for us. From Manchester United perspective, that was an absolute embarrassment because Istanbul Başakşehir aren't even good. You know, when they beat us, that was their first ever win in the Champions League because it's their first time in the competition this season, and they was only formed back in 1990. You know, their current manager is Okan Buruk. You know, they have got quite a few former Premier League players in their team. You know, they've got Demba Ba, Martin Skrtel, Chadley and Rafael da Silva. You know, Rafael da Silva is a former Manchester United player, as you all know. But if we beat Istanbul Başakşehir tomorrow, it will be our third win in a row in all competitions, and it will be our third win in the Champions League group stage. We've played 3 games so far in the group. You know, we've won 2 and we've lost 1, so we've registered 6 points from 9, haven't we? Games are coming up thick and fast for Man United. You know, Southampton is on Sunday, 2 o'clock at St Mary's. You know, that's going to be a difficult game because Southampton are in form. They really, really are. Ralph Hasenhüttl has really, really turned them around. And the game at St Mary's last season was 1-1. The game at Old Trafford was 2-2. Southampton have got some good players in their team. You know, they've got that Nathan Redmond. They've got Stuart Armstrong. They've got Danny Ings. They've got Upamecano. Obviously, they've got Theo Walcott on loan. They've got James Ward-Prowse. They've got Che Adams. They've got Romeu. He's another player they've got. They've got that Vastigard, haven't they, if I pronounce his name correctly. They've still got Kyle Walker-Peters there. But yeah. But Southampton are doing very, very well. You know, they've lost quite a few players in recent years, Southampton. Don't forget, they lost Cedric Soares to Arsenal. They lost Holberg to, was it Tottenham? They lost Virgil van Dijk a few years ago to Liverpool. They lost Nathaniel Klein to Liverpool again at the time. They lost Adam Lallana. They lost Sadio Mane. They lost Charlie Austin. I think they loaned Mario Lemina out as well. So yeah, Southampton have lost quite a few of their players. So that will be a very, very difficult game. After Southampton, I think it's PSG. Going to be another hard one. West Ham then after PSG. We should be beating West Ham because they're pretty poor. Then RB Leipzig, going to be a difficult one. And then after that, it's Manchester City. And that's going to be a difficult one. City haven't enjoyed a great start, though, to the season, have they, surprisingly? So, yeah. So, anyway, guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always. And take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.